All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to be dissecting a real masterpiece of suspense and irony, Saki's The Interlopers. It's a short story, but man, does it pack a punch. And this story really forces us to ask ourselves a huge question. How can a fight over, well, basically nothing, end up revealing a truth about everything? Saki is brilliant at peeling back those layers of human conflict to show us what's really going on underneath. So, let's set the scene. Right away, Saki just throws us into this dark, stormy night in the Carpathian Mountains. And the setting? It's just as wild and turbulent as the conflict at the heart of the story, which, by the way, is this insane grudge that has poisoned two families for 3 whole generations. And what are they fighting over? Get this, it's a stupid strip of forest. Saki goes out of his way to tell us it's not even good for hunting. It's basically worthless. Which, of course, is the whole point. He's showing us just how ridiculous and pointless these kinds of deep-seated hatreds can be. Now, this is what's so clever. You've got these 2 guys, Ulrich von Grodowitz and George Znaeum. And they're not just enemies, they're practically mirror images of each other. Saki tells us each man is out there in the woods looking for one thing, a human enemy. Both have hate in their hearts and murder uppermost in their minds. It's like they're 2 sides of the exact same coin of pointless rage. Okay, so this is it, the big moment. They finally come face to face, deep in the woods, both with rifles in hand. The story just hits this critical turning point. This is literally what they've been hoping for their entire lives, a chance to end this feud for good. They've got the perfect opportunity to just end it. But they hesitate. Just for a second. Saki calls it the code of a restraining civilization. You know, you can't just shoot a guy in cold blood. And it's that tiny, tiny moment of being civilized that costs them, well, everything. Because before either of them can pull the trigger, nature itself makes a move. The forest basically strikes back. There's this massive crash, and suddenly nature isn't just the background scenery anymore. It's a major player in this drama, and it's a violent one. And boom, just like that, the tables are completely turned. The hunters have become the trapped. A giant beech tree falls and pins them both to the ground, side by side. The very land they were willing to kill for has literally trapped them. So now what? They're stuck. And this is where the story takes another huge turn. This shared disaster, this moment of being completely helpless, it starts to change them. We're shifting away from a simple revenge story to something much, much deeper. At first, though, nothing changes. They're still just lashing out at each other with words. George is practically laughing, right? He's like, ha, look at you, Ulrich von Grodowitz, trapped on your own stolen land. Their hate is just so deep-seated, even a tree falling on them can't stop the insults. But then, something starts to shift, slowly. Ulrich, the landowner, actually feels a pang of pity for George. And he does something incredible. He offers him a drink from his wine flask. It seems like a small thing, but it's huge. It's the first crack in a lifetime of hatred. And from there, it just kind of spills out, the admission that this whole fight is stupid, and then an actual offer of friendship. And George accepts. I mean, think about that. These 2 guys, who have spent their entire lives wishing for the other to die, suddenly become friends. They start talking about what it'll be like when they get rescued, how they'll ride into town together and end this feud for good. It's this incredibly powerful, hopeful scene. So there they are, waiting for help. But now the game is totally changed. They're both hoping their men get there first. Not to gloat, but so they can be the one to show kindness and honor to their new friend. The whole reason they were out there has been turned completely upside down. And then they hear it. Or rather, Ulrich sees it. I see figures, he shouts. He says there are 9 or 10 of them running towards them. This is it. They're saved. You can just feel the relief, the joy in that moment. George is so excited. He's like, are they your men? He's already thinking about their new life as friends. But Ulrich doesn't answer. That joy in his voice, it's gone. Replaced by this awful, terrifying silence. And instead of answering, Ulrich starts to laugh. And it is not a happy laugh. Saki describes it as this idiotic, chattering laugh. The laugh of a man who has just seen something so terrifying he's completely broken. And George asks again, who are they? And Ulrich gives him the answer. One word. Wolves. Just that one word. And in an instant, all that hope, all that reconciliation is just gone, wiped out by absolute horror.
Okay, wow, what an ending. Let's take a breath and unpack that because the genius of this story isn't just the shock value. It's about all the layers of irony that Saki has been carefully building from the very beginning.
What we're looking at here is a perfect example of situational irony. That's when the outcome is the exact opposite of what you'd expect, right? You expect one of them to kill the other. They don't. They make peace. You expect them to be rescued. They're not. Their peace treaty becomes completely meaningless in the face of a much bigger, much more primal threat. And this all comes back to the title, The Interlopers. Who are the interlopers, really? At the start, Ulrich thinks it's Jorg and his men trespassing on his land. As you read, you might start to think, well, maybe it's humanity as a whole, meddling in nature's domain with our stupid fights. But that final line reveals the true interlopers, the wolves. They are the ones who ultimately interfere and end the feud permanently.
And you see this all through the story, right? Nature isn't just wallpaper. It's a character, a powerful one. The forest itself shows how trivial their fight is. The storm shows nature's indifferent power. The falling tree is nature's decisive intervention. And the wolves? They represent nature's absolute, final authority over human plans. It's all there to show us just how small our problems are in the grand scheme of things.
Which leaves us with this one final, really haunting question. In their last moments, Ulrich and George found forgiveness. They found friendship. They achieved this incredible moment of human grace. But if it was all wiped away just minutes later by an indifferent force of nature, did it even matter? Did that moment of peace have any value at all? And honestly, that's the question that sticks with you long after you finished reading.